Assalamualaikum and a very good day to everyone I greet. So my name is Muhammad Al-Amin bin Hassan Bakri from TSLB intake June 2023 2028. So today I am presenting my case study for the subject TSLB 3282, which is English Language Skills 2, under the big idea Advancing Children's Language Acquisition Theories through Academic Discourse. So this task is carried out through the pedagogical capacity for deep learning, or we know that as PCDL approach. So through this case study, I aim to highlight the real experiences of a bilingual child in Malaysia and how those experiences reflect broader theories about language development, bilingual acquisition, and also learning context. So the findings I present today are based on a real interview with a 12-year-old learner. So I hope this presentation will give some insight into the way children acquire and use multiple languages in their daily life, and what we as a future educators can learn from it. So I have also recorded this and uploaded this presentation to YouTube as required. So moving on to the next slide. So for the first slide, which is what I want to introduce is the basic first. So the world of multiple languages. So first, let's understand the key terms in this discussion, which is bilingualism and also multilingualism. So bilingualism refers to the ability to speak and understand two languages. So this often the result of growing up in a household or a society where two languages are used regularly. Meanwhile, multilingualism means the ability to use more than two languages. So this is common in multicultural societies like Malaysia, where people are often exposed to Malay, English, Chinese, or Tamil from an early age. So today, over a third of the global population is bilingual or multilingual. So this shows that growing up with more than one language is no longer the exception. It is becoming the norms nowadays. So from a developmental perspective, bilingualism provides many benefits, not only for communication, but also for cognitive flexibility, memory, and also problem solving. So children who are bilingual often show, we can say that, a better focus, creativity, and even improve social understanding when they communicate. So as future teachers, this means we must be prepared to teach in a classroom filled with bilingual or even multilingual students. And to do that, we must first understand how or the way they learn in our classroom. So we are moving on to the next slides. So this case study focuses on a real Malaysian boy who is 12 years old. So he lives in a Malay-speaking household and speaks Malay language as his first language, or we can say that as L1. So English is his second language, or L2, which is language 2, so which he learns formally in school. So he also encounters English informally through social media, such as games, YouTube videos, and also television shows. So what makes his learning experience valuable is how relatable it is to many children in Malaysia. Like many others, he is growing up in a setting where English is not spoken at home, and we can say that as where confidence in speaking English is low, because there's no one speak or using that language at home. So in this case, the child shows curiosity and some, we can say that, enjoyment when learning English, but at the same time he also displays anxiety, hesitation, and also limited usage in real communication. So his experience reflect a larger challenge we face in English language education in Malaysia. So students may know the rules of English, but they lack the confidence or opportunity to use it actively. So this case study helps us understand why that gap exists and what we can do to bridge it, or we can say to stop. So for this slide, what this case study explores. So the objectives of this case study are fourfold. What I can say is, so the first one is to observe how a child acquires and uses two languages in daily life, especially in different contexts. So the second one, to explore the emotional and psychological factors involved in bilingualism, such as confidence, motivation, and also what I have said earlier, anxiety. So the third one, to analyze how external factors such as school, home environment, and also media support or limit language development. So the last one is to offer practical insights for teachers or pre-teachers and also parents on how to better support bilingualness or multilingualness. So moreover, this study isn't just about this one child, but it is actually about understanding a common pattern and how that pattern fits into larger theories of bilingual acquisition. So moving on to the next slide, which is methods or ethics, how the study was done. So this study used qualitative method or interview, which is open-ended question. So the interview allow the child to share his experiences, thoughts and feelings about language learning in his own words. So he talked about how and where he uses English and what he find difficult, what he enjoy, and also what strategies he uses to learn. So as a researcher, I follow ethical guidelines, which is the child's identity has been protected and all personal information is confidential, and parental consent was obtained beforehand before I did the interview, and the child was informed that he could stop the interview at any moment, at any point he or she want. So these ethical steps are very important when we are, as a pre-teacher or teacher, conducting studies involving children. So, for this slide, we will talk about the everyday language use, which is where, when, and how. So basically, the interview revealed very clear patterns in child's language use. So basically, at home he used Malay exclusively, which is Malay is used at home 100% of the time. So all conversation with his parents, siblings and relatives are in Malay. And also at school, he uses Malay with his friends in casual settings. He only uses English during the English class or English lessons. And even then, he sometimes switches back to Malay language when he gets stuck, when he trying to speak English. So outside of the school, he is exposed to this language, which is English, through cartoons, anime from Japan, which is he watch using dub or English dub, mobile games and also YouTube videos. However, he is mostly a passive user of English because he mostly listen and reads, but doesn't actively speaks. So in daily conversation, he often code switches between two languages, which is Malay and English, and by mixing English into Malay sentence, for example, from what I have got, which is he says, saya nak makan chicken rice, or nanti abang will bagi adik main game. So what we can see there is the code switching between two language, he mix two languages together when he try to speak English. So this is basically a natural part of bilingual development and shows that his brain is juggling both languages. So even if he's more confident in one. So next, language development challenges. So although what I can say is he enjoys learning English through games and media, but he also faces significant challenges, which is the biggest issue is language anxiety. So the strong fear of making mistake when speaking English, because he feels nervous when speaking English in front of others, especially in class with his friend or the teachers. So he is afraid of being laughed at or making mistake. So this anxiety actually prevents him from participating in what we can say in the classroom is a discussion or answering the question in English even when he knows the answer. So he also has limited vocabulary, and from that this makes it harder for him to express his ideas fully in English. So that is why sometimes he will try to code switching. So when he forgets a word, he stops speaking or switches back to Malay. So the result is a cycle, which is less confidence to less speaking and to slower progress. So this is something that many Malaysian learners experience, even though they're already adult. So, and it shows that the importance of creating a classroom that feels safe, supportive, and encouraging. For this slide, understanding true context, which is the strategy used. So despite his struggles, the child shows a strong ability in using contextual clues to understand English. So sometimes he guesses new words using cartoons and gameplay visual. So for instance, when he watch cartoons or anime in English, he uses pictures, tone, and also facial expression to guess what is really happening. So he doesn't always understand every word, but he actually can follow the story and pick up some vocabulary. So this kind of incidental learning is actually powerful, especially for young learners. So however, he rarely asks for clarification or uses dictionary. So his learning, basically from my research, his learning is mostly visual and intuitive. So this, based on this, it can suggest he could benefit from guidance on how to build vocabulary more effectively, such as using word walls, visual or bilingual dictionaries. A multilingual world, so non-verbal learning. So actually, one powerful moment in the interview was when he described going to a shop where the owner only spoke Chinese. So since he could not understand or speak Chinese, he used gestures, which is smiles and also pointing to buy what he wanted. So this shows that he has a strong communication strategies, even when what we can say is even when the language fails, but he doesn't panic, and also he adapt to the situation. So it also reinforces the idea that communication is about more than just words. So it includes facial expression, tone of voice, body language, and even silence. So as teachers, we should recognize that language learning involve all of these elements, which is all of that lah. So, and we need to encourage our students to use them, the gestures, the smiles, and shows to the everyone that they are communicating with the things that they want. So personal learning preferences. So when asked how he prefers to learn, the child said that he loved especially games and music. So he said that games give him a chance to see English used in a real situation. For example, when um, navigating menus, reading dialogues, and also understanding instruction. So on the other hand, songs, he said that it helped with pronunciation, rhythm, and also vocabulary. So because songs often repeat the same phrases, it becomes easier for him to remember and understand the language. So he also said that he wanted to learn Japanese in the future, so he could watch the cartoon from the Japan, which is anime, without subtitles. So this shows how powerful personal motivation and interest are in language learning. So if we can connect a lesson to what children are already interested in, learning can become much more effective to them. Also, one very interesting insight from the interview was that this child has on several occasions helped others understand English, which is when this child becomes the teacher for their friends. So for example, he told me that in class a friend one asked him what a word meant, and he explained it in Malay. And at home, his younger sibling sometimes asks him what English word means, and he also tries to simplify and explain it. Sometimes he uses English and also code switching to Malay language. So this is what we call peer teaching or language mediation. And it is an incredibly valuable process when children teach others. They are not only reinforcing their own learning, but they are also building confidence and leadership by speaking to everyone or by explain to everyone about some things. So more importantly, this approach or this kind of, we can say that as evidence, a proof that bilingual children are not always passive learners. Even those with limited confidence or low fluency can still play a meaningful role in their learning community. So we as teachers, we should encourage this by designing, for example, group work or pair activities where learners can support one another in the classroom. Learning environment. So what shapes his language? So the child language learning does not occur in one single space actually. Instead, it is shaped by three different environments, which is what I have said earlier: school, home, and also media. At school, he received a structured point, which is such as grammar rules, sentence construction, and also a vocabulary list. However, school also brings some kind of pressure, I can say, because there are exams, grades, and sometimes fear of being corrected publicly. So this can actually increase some sort of anxiety. But at home, his language use is completely Malay because his family does not speak English. And there's little to no opportunity to practice or hear English being used naturally at home. Instead of, but in the digital environment, he encounters English in a fun way, I can say, which is or relaxed and engaging way. Whether it's through anime, which is Japanese cartoon, music video, or games, he's getting exposed to authentic language without the stress of being tested. So each environment actually plays some kind of different role, because our goal as educators, as teachers, should be to make our classroom feel more like a digital space, which is engaging, meaningful, and also low pressure. So while still offering the structure needed for growth for each students or pupils. So for this slide is core insights from the case study. So based on everything he shared, we can identify, or I can identify, several key insights that can help is understanding the experience of bilingual children. So first, frequency of use matters. So he speaks Malay every day, so he is fluent. So he rarely speak English, so his fluency is weak. So this confirm what many language experts say. Language input alone is not enough. We need active language use to build fluency in our speaks. Second, interest makes a difference. So the child remembers English word from games, songs more easily than the textbook. So he learns better when he is enjoying the process. So for the third one, emotion are crucial. So I would say that his fear of making the mistake and being judged stops him from speaking English. Even when he knows the correct word, anxiety holds him back. And lastly, we must realize that the classroom is not only place where learning happens. So teachers, parents, friends, and what I have said earlier, which is media, all of them influence how a child learns a language. So from what I can say is his situation is common, not unique, but very real. What educators can do. So as future teachers, we have an important role to play, which is we cannot control what happens at our home or the internet, but we can control what happens in our classroom. So firstly, we must create a safe space or supportive space. So this means allowing children to make mistakes, laugh about them, and learn from them. If students are too afraid to speak, they will never progress. And then secondly, we should use low pressure speaking tasks, which is activities like storytelling, drama, and games. Give children a chance to use English in a fun, creative ways without the stress of being tested or being judged. So third, we must respect and allow code switching between their first language or second language or third language, especially in the early stages of learning. So switching between L1 and L2 can actually help the children make connection and understand the new vocabulary better, so they can remember the vocabulary or the new words better. And finally, we must provide authentic input, which is this is actually include songs, video, or real life dialogues, and meaningful tasks that relate to learners' interests. So the more meaningful the content, the deeper the learning for them. So I have talked about what educators or teachers can do, and now what about parents? What parents can do? So parents also have important role in supporting bilingual development. So many parents think they cannot help because they are not fluent in English, but this is not true, because support does not require fluency. It is actually requires encourage, interest, and also small efforts. So for example, parents can start by using simple English phrases at home, such as good morning, thank you, or let's eat together. So these little moments add up over time. They can also, moreover, they can also watch English shows with their children and ask simple questions about what they see. They can play English songs at home or encourage children to sing along. So most importantly, parents should never punish or scold a child for making mistakes in English, because they should praise effort. Even though if it's small, they should praise the child's effort, shows interest, and let English feel like something natural and enjoyable. So in this child's case, his parents don't use English at all, so he is relying entirely on school and also media, which is games, songs, and so on. So imagine how much more confident he could become if he had a bit of support at home too. We need to Imagine that. So in conclusion, this case study has helped me understand what I can say, the complexity of bilingualism in children. So it is actually not just about learning vocabulary or the grammar or the rules itself, but it is about confidence, practice, support, and also motivation. This 12 years old boy in my case study has potential because he is already interested. He is exposed to English through media, and he is already helping others, but he also held back by fear, limited practice, and lack of support at home, or actually what I can say is from the parents or the environment. So as educator, we must look beyond the test score, the marks. So we must ask, how does the child feel about the language? Where and how do they use it? And what can we do to make it easier, more enjoyable, and more meaningful? So bilingualism is not just an academic skills, but it is part of a child's identity. When we try to support a child in developing both their language, which is L1 and L2, we are also helping them to grow in confidence, in thinking ability, and in their connection to the world. So I think that's all from me. Thank you very much for listening, and I look forward to everyone's feedback. So that is all from me. Thank you.